Taxes. What a big word. What an adult word. I'm here to talk about what tax is. You might have heard it from the news, or you might have heard your parents or your mom complain about it. Taxes are deemed by many people as a burden, but rather, taxes are a fee charged by the state in order for them to provide for our needs, to provide safe roads, hospitals, education, and many more. Taxes is a responsibility, but it is also much very necessary. There are four types of taxes, four main types: property, sales, income, and business tax. You've known the four different types of tax. You will finally understand now why it is necessary, not just a burden, but also responsibility. Please be responsible in paying your taxes, or else you'll go to jail. We don't want that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm basically gonna be talking about two types of taxes. There's sales tax and business tax. We'll talk about sales tax first because, well, it's the easier one. Anyways, so sales tax is a tax that the government puts on people for products, but it only gets taxed if it's like the end user product. So like, for example, I'm like a sheep farmer. You know, I get my cotton from my sheep and like, what do you call this? I give it to another person. I sell to another person, but that person doesn't get taxed because not end user. Because that person will turn that wool into like some fabric. But then that person will also sell again to a company. But the company doesn't get taxed because it's not an end user item yet. So they turn it into socks. Then they sell it on the market. Then the person that buys those socks gets taxed because that's really the end user. So basically, sales tax is basically like the tax that you get from products that you buy. So like when you go to the supermarket and you buy like, I don't know, like some milk, you're probably gonna get taxed for that. Then the second type of tax is business tax. Business tax is kind of hard because there's a lot of things going into it. Because when you own a business, there's a lot of like factors in it. So the first tax in business tax is corporate franchise tax, which, well, so like if your company is like really big and you have many like branches across the world, you get taxed for that. Then there's employment tax, which is basically like you basically get taxed for like, you know, like you get a cut from your employees like salary and it goes into their taxes like that. Then there's also excise tax, which is like certain companies that get like taxed for certain items. So like if you're selling oil or like if you own a mining company or you sell oil, you get taxed for that as well. Then there's gross receipts tax and value added tax, which is VAT. Everyone knows what VAT is, which is basically like the more value your product has, the more tax that you get. So like that's basically all the taxes I'm gonna be talking about. So we're gonna have Luke on talk about other taxes such as property tax and personal tax.
Spotlight, moonlight,
Hello, my name is Luke from grade 9H. Today, I'm going to talk about two types of tax. They are income tax and property tax. Income tax is paid by individuals and entities. Income tax generally is computed as the product of a tax rate times the taxable income. Taxation rates may vary between the type and characteristics of the taxpayers. Property tax is a real estate tax, ad valorem tax calculated by the local government, which is paid by the owner of the property. The tax is usually based on the value of the owned property, including land. The local governing body will use the assessed tax to fund water and sewer improvements. Thank you for listening.